We've got an exciting game here in Week 12 with major playoff implications for both teams as Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fly up to play Gardner Minshew and the Indianapolis Colts in this Week 12 matchup. Super exciting to watch here. Tampa Bay still in the playoff hunt now as they're tied with the Falcons for second overall in the AFC South, just one game back on the New Orleans Saints, and they have a tiebreaker over the Saints as well, but not the Falcons. So it's a very unique kind of dynamic right now in the NFC South. Then the AFC South here, the Colts are ninth overall right now in the AFC total, so still well within the wild card hunt. One game back from the Texans, who were the 6th seed overall. Colts are 5-5, but then still also technically within the division hunt. But I would see the Colts going more for a wild card spot here with a lot of potential movement going on right now. The AFC is ridiculously deep, and the NFC is not. So, but this game though here is going to be, I think, super exciting. Both teams, I say, are actually. This is going to be a unique matchup here. So I want to throw it over to you first here. What are your overall thoughts on both of these teams? Tampa Bay, just for the season and some of their objective to win this game, and then same with the Colts.
So for me, this is a really interesting matchup because I think the Bucs are outperforming what everybody thought they would do. And I thought the Colts would actually be decent coming into the year. But the interesting thing for me with the Colts is they're actually 1-4 at home. That includes that horrible loss to the Browns, but even then they would still be 2-3. So this is an interesting matchup. Also, the Colts, last time they played against it was against the Patriots in Week 10 over in Germany. They looked horrible. Like, they looked so bad, just mistake after mistake. Luckily for them, the Patriots just looked even worse. So not good performances by either team. And it's interesting to kind of see how these teams are going to match up. They did play, I believe, was that last year? And I think the Bucs eked out a win.
I'd have to go back and double check.
But I don't know. It's an interesting matchup. I think it's going to be a fairly heavy defensive game. But yeah, this is probably one of the few games where I would give the quarterback edge to the Buccaneers. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting one. Both these teams, like you said, fighting for a wild card spot. I think the Bucs might have a better chance, even though the Colts have the better record.
So I'll push back a little bit. I actually can see this being a high scoring game. And the reason why I say that right now is the Colts so far, they have, I would say, in average, maybe just and statistically, just slightly above average. Right now, they're 18th in overall total yards, passing wise, sitting just shy of 2,200 on the season. Running wise, they're at 11th overall, averaging, they're at 1,180 total rushing yards on the season. Bucs are a little bit above the Colts in the passing game, overall in total passing yards, but they are the worst running offense statistically.
The Colts?
No, the Bucs. Sorry.
Sorry,
the
Bucs.
Bucs.
Yeah.
The Bucs passing offense, 2,278 yards so far in the season. While rushing-wise, they have not even cracked 800 rushing yards so far in the season, sitting at 769, worst in the league. I bring that up just because in the Colts, they have the 8th worst running defense statistically, giving up just shy of 1,300 rushing yards. And the Bucs defense, passing defense, have given up the 3rd most passing yards. So I think it's just going to be an interesting dynamic here. And also the Bucs, I think, have a top 5 running defense as well. So like the Bucs' strength and on the defensive side, running the ball was going to, I think that's going to be an interesting matchup against Jonathan Taylor and that Colts offense. The Colts have a solid offensive line. They're about the same in overall total sacks. Both have about 30 sacks so far, and they've given up about the same amount of sacks, only about 20 or so on the season. So not horrible on both sides of the ball, both offensively, defensively, when it comes to sacks allowed. I think it's going to be very unique here on how the Bucs, if they have the 3rd worst passing defense this week, I can see Gardner Minshew and Josh Downs and Michael Pittman having a whale of a game. I can see Alec Pierce potentially catching a couple of deep balls, being that deep ball threat that he's supposed to be on the team. Really open things up down low for Josh Downs, who I think has picked up a lot over these past just over the season, over his rookie season. He's been a big bright spot for this Colts team. So that's just going to be an interesting dynamic. And at the same point, too, talking about the Bucs passing offense here, I agree with you. I expected little to nothing, honestly, from Baker Mayfield. I thought he was going to kind of tank this Bucs offense, but he's been solid. He's been good. He's connected with Mike Evans a couple of times, a lot this season so far. Chris Godwin, unfortunately, he's not the same guy that he was before his ACL tear, but he's still doing good enough. Cade Otton is another good option here. There's several other guys. Rashad White, the main running back, obviously not having best rushing season so far this year, but he's a good kind of all-around back for them, and it's good catching the ball out of the backfield as well in his, I'm pretty sure, second season. So in general, this offense is pretty solid, and we're recording this as a Tuesday night. Colts did just release Shaq Leonard as well, who has been battling some injuries.
That's true.
So I'm curious what overall effect it's going to have on the defense as a whole, even if it maybe is not much on the field performance, but just locker room feel, what that's going to be like going into this game, which I feel is kind of an awkward time, I feel, to be cutting somebody on a Tuesday. I feel like normally it's like a Monday morning type thing, but I could be wrong on that. Anyways, I just think it's just an overall interesting dynamic because both teams have explosive players, but then they both have weaknesses on the defensive side of the ball that teams might be able to exploit, but that's not their strength. Like the Bucs maybe could exploit the running game a little bit against the Colts, but clearly that's not going to be the strength of this team. So it's going to be interesting to see the overall dynamic, who's going to have the explosive plays, which kind of breaks are going to go the certain team's way. I think it's going to come down to a couple of inches here.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. I think it's going to be like a 31-28 type performance.
Okay. I was going to say like 20-17. I just think both these defenses, they do get after the passer fairly well. I know the Colts probably are a little bit better than the Bucs in that department, but I just think now that these offenses have been super explosive, consistently, I will say.
I will say, just coming off just statistically right now, they're actually about the same when it comes to sacks, pressured, and the total plays, total percentage of pressured plays. They're about 11th or 12th in total sacks. Colts sitting at 30 total sacks, Bucs at 29 total pressures. Bucs have that one just by a couple, 88 pressures on the season to 82 pressures on the Colts. And then the percentage of pressures, Bucs have like 1% more. So defensively getting after the quarterback, they are about the same. Yeah. So I think it's going to be very interesting here because I do give the edge in offensive line play to the Colts. Yeah. So can they eliminate those pressures, give Gardner Minshew a good pocket, open up holes for Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, and can they run all over this Bucs defense, who statistically has been pretty decent so far this season? I think that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And can the Colts not shoot themselves in the foot? Because they have done that multiple times this year.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get into our predictions. But before we do that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this matchup. And Tyler, I'm going to throw it over to you. Who do you have winning this one?
So I'm going to go with the home team, the Indianapolis Colts. I do feel they coming off this bye, I have a feeling that they're going to be able to exploit the Bucs secondary a good bit. I think they're going to be able to spread out the secondary, opening up just the short dump off passes to Josh Downs, Jonathan Taylor, if it's just check down passes. And then that's going to get this Bucs defense off balance, and Gardner Minshew is going to be able to manufacture some drives in different ways. While I feel the Bucs, I know the Colts run defense is weaker. I still feel the Bucs are not going to be able to run the ball well overall against them, just because they haven't really all season. And at the same time, I will say I noticed on the Bucs just throughout the season, they will go on stretches where their offense just stalls. They just can't seem to figure it out, can't seem to move the ball past the 50. And I have a feeling that that's going to haunt them this game as well. As the Colts, I think, will be able to run the ball, will be able to manufacture like long drives, kind of a staple of that Shane Steichen offense. And I think that's just going to provide less opportunities for the Bucs to score. So I'm going to go with the Colts in a close one. I'll say Matt Gay kicks another 50-plus yard field goal. Let's go 53 yards to win the game.
Okay. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers. I like the matchup against the Colts for them. I think that these wide receivers are going to be able to exploit some of the weaknesses and youth in the secondary for the Colts. This offensive line hasn't been as bad as I thought. It's not good, but it's I think good enough. And I like this Tampa Bay defense, especially given the fact that the Colts aren't as good at home. I feel like I'm taking a little bit of a risk with this pick because the Bucs have lost 5 of their last 6, and their only win was against the Titans. But I feel like the Titans and the Colts are really similar.
Yeah.
So I just like the matchup there for them, and we'll see how it goes. So
now this is a classic game of two teams that will probably play. If they make it to the postseason, it'll be one game.
Yeah.
So this is
and they'll get
the other one won't make it. Other one will have an early vacation to
Yeah.
start the year. Well, the other one will get to play one more game. I feel like that's just that kind of vibe. I feel this game. We've seen this type of game a lot of times. So it's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up here. We disagree on this one. You're taking the Colts. I'm taking the Bucs. Let us know down in the comments who you think is going to come out ahead. And while you're down there, go ahead and like and subscribe. And we will see you guys next time.